Hari Om. In today's recording, we will proceed on with Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, from verse number 23 onwards. So, what we have seen so far, that in this chapter 17, Sri Krishna has spoken about the sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic type of activities in four categories. And what are the four categories? One is ahara, the type of food that we eat, so which also can be classified under sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. And all the other three practices of yajna, meaning how we offer our prayers or how we conduct our rituals, tapas, how we maintain our austerities, and dhanam, how we offer charity. So all these four type of sadhanas, yajna, ahara, food, yajna, prayers, tapas, austerities, dhanam, charity, can be divided into three types of qualities: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Obviously, if we want to progress spiritually, we must follow this sattvic example for all these four. That is, eat sattvic food, offer our charity in a sattvic way, and so forth, and reduce the rajasic type of these three activities and totally eliminate the tamasic variety. However, even though our activities of these four sadhanas may be sattvic, yet we find that sometimes unintentionally we may make some mistakes, or we may make some oversights. Example, sometimes we give dhanam to what we think is a good cause, but later we find out the money that we gave to this organization was used for the other or wrong purposes. Or we go to a restaurant, we order sattvic food, we say our prayers and we eat this sattvic food. Later we come to find out it is mixed with some tamasic food. So unintentionally we have done something, but our motive was pure. So the thing is, what do we do in this kind of instances? The Lord will now tell us in verse number 23 that there is a mantra called Om Tat Sat. So anything that we do with a pure heart, whatever charity we give, before we consume any food, either before or after the activity, we do it with a pure heart, and we just say this Om Tat Sat mantra. So if there are any mistakes or shortcomings in our actions, they will be forgiven. Now, we don't have to say the whole mantra Om Tat Sat. We can say either Om or Tat or Sat. All three have got a very strong meaning. But if you want to say all three together, you also can do that. So what is the glory of these three words, Om Tat Sat? Krishna will explain now in this verse. The Lord says, this mantra, iti Om Tat Sat, this Om Tat Sat, what is so special about them? They are trivida, threefold. Nirdesha, designations or names of Brahmana or Brahman. So Om is one name for Brahman, Tat is one name for Brahman, Sat is also another name for Brahman. He can be addressed in any of these three names. So the absolute reality is only one truth, one reality, but it can be known, or it is known by three different names. Now, what is Om? Om is the symbol or the sound vibration of the absolute reality. This was also given by Krishna in chapter 10, verse 25. And there is an Upanishad called the Mandukya Upanishad, where the explanation of all these three syllables, A, U, M, or A, U, M, is given. So Om is a combination of A, U, M, and each alphabet itself again has a very special meaning, which is explained in the in the Mandukya Upanishad. In Taittiriya Upanishad also it is said, Om iti Brahman, Om iti Sarvam, Om is Brahman, Om is everything. Om is also called as the Pranava. Pranava comes from the root word prana, which means breath. So from breath of Brahman came the first sound Om, and from Om came the whole creation. Tat, what is Tat? It is the universal intelligence and consciousness. Tat also means that, so which is used to indicate something which is not within our sense perception. We say that day, that time, that person. So to indicate something which is not present right now before us. So Tat refers to something that is there all the time. Tat. Sat is that which is truth, absolute bliss. And truth is that which exists without changing in all periods of time, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So truth is that which exists beyond the boundaries of time. So this threefold designation of Brahman, the Lord says in this verse, Smrita is born in the mind of the knowers of Vedanta. This auspicious mantra, it came from the breath of God at the beginning of creation, and it was communicated within the minds of the great ancient sages. They received these divine revelations from the Creator. So we should use these three names to purify our mind and to meditate upon the Supreme Being. And the Lord goes on to say, Tena, with that, the utterance of Om Tat Sat, the Creator began the creation. So the Creator uttered Om Tat Sat, and with this preceded the whole creation. The Creator began the creation, so these three words are considered auspicious and holy. Now, what was created with the utterance of Om by the Lord? Brahmanas, that means the Brahmins, who were the agents required to study and spread the spiritual teachings, performance of rituals. So a Brahmana is one who has a mindset that values the scriptural teachings and follows a way of life as prescribed by the scriptures. So from that utterance of Om Tat Sat, first thing that came was Brahmanas. Second was the Vedas. The Vedas are the books or the means of attaining spiritual knowledge. And third came Yajnas, which are the varieties of actions that are required to be followed to lead a life of dharma. So Om represents, generally it is said, Om represents the Brahmanas, Tat represents the Vedas, and Sat represents the Yajnas. So with this utterance of Om, all these were created. Okay, various forms of what we call Brahmins, then the Vedas, and then the Yajnas. So thus the Lord says, thus Om Tat Sat mantra was vihita, was ordained by the Creator Prajapati, the Creator, when? Pura, in ancient times. So Om Tat Sat is not something new, it is the sound that was there at the very beginning of creation. So therefore these three mantras are sacred and pure, having come from the very breath of the Lord. Now in verse number 24, the Lord says, so he breaks down in fact each of the words now and gives us the significance of each of the words. So the Lord says, Tasmat, therefore, any acts of yajna, prayers, rituals that we do, dana, charity, tapa, austerity. In fact, although only three examples are given, any action that you do, whether it is secular, worldly action, even before you start your work, or even any spiritual action that we do, like giving dhanam, Krishna says, Brahma Vadinam, the followers of the Vedas. So here Krishna qualifies who should use this mantra as a purifier. Followers of the Vedas here, Brahma Vadinam, means those who have faith and trust in the Vedic scriptures and they follow a life of dharma. So Lord says, whenever we perform these acts, kriya, plus whatever other acts that we do, vidanaha yukta, which are prescribed. So not just any actions, but actions which are prescribed through injunctions of the scriptures. Even as a householder, also the Vedas prescribe us how to behave as householders. So the Lord says, Pravartante, when they commence, before we start any such activities, before we start our prayers, before we start our duties, before we start giving any charity, the Lord says, Satatam, they always udharitya utter or chant iti om, this om mantra. So whatever you do before you start to purify your mind, to purify the action, chant the word om. Or even after you complete the action also, you can chant the word om. So what it means here also, you don't have to chant om tat sat. Even one name of God is enough to purify your actions. What more to say if you chant all the three names of the Lord? The om mantra must be chanted with the genuine intention that, Lord, I am doing this action as an offering to you, and please forgive me if there are any defects in my action which I may not be aware of. So sincere attitude is very, very important. Okay. There is a text known as the Brihat Yogi Yajna Valkya Smriti, which says, whatever defects may arise in the sacrifices, yajnas, due to errors of the performers, that becomes rectified through the mere remembrance of Vishnu. So the same thing is validated there. Now this text, the Brihat Yogi Yajna Valkya Smriti, consists of 12 chapters with 504 verses, and is a dialogue between sage Yajna Valkya and Gargi, who was a great female sage. Now in verse number 25, the Lord explains the glory of Tat. He talked about Om, now he's talking about Tat. So he says, who are the people qualified to utter this mantra? They are the spiritual seekers who aspire for the goal of moksha. So here the Lord refers to them as moksha kanshibi, aspirants for liberation, who are seeking liberation. So whatever actions they perform, they are not seeking punyam in this life. They are not seeking fame, name, riches, etc. in this life, or they are not even seeking to attain Swarga Loka, or even to seek any pleasures in the next life. So they are only seeking moksha, moksha kanshibi. So the Lord says, in all these people, in all their kriya, in all their actions, like yakya, tapa, dana, all the three same actions again, vividha, also various other worldly activities that they may be doing, kriyante, are performed only after utterance of iti tat. So there are another group of seekers whose desire is for moksha. Before they perform yakya, dana, tapa or any worldly activities, they utter the word tat also. And what should be the attitude of such seekers? Anabhisandhaya, without desiring phalam, the results. So whatever prayers they offer it to the Lord, they don't desire any results of the prayers. Whatever charity they give it as a service to the Lord. They don't desire anybody to come and thank them and all that. So that must be the attitude also. Okay, it must be done with that attitude of surrender. So that is very important, the attitude. With this, the Tat mantra can be chanted. Verse 26, the Lord talks about some spiritual seekers who use the Sat mantra. So here he talks about, in verse 26, what is the auspiciousness of Sat mantra, and he gives us two meanings. He gives us three meanings of Sat. In verse 26, there are three explanations of Sat. And in the next verse, another two meanings are given also. So the Lord says, iti etat, this word sat, which is one of the names of Brahman, is sadbhave, used with regards to the state of existence of the Lord, which is eternal. Adi Sankaracharya Viveka Chudamani writes, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Brahman is real, the world is false. So what is Sat? Sat, when we talk about real, what do the scriptures mean when they talk about real? That remains the same in all periods of time. So it refers to the eternal, changeless Lord. The world is therefore known as mithya, false, because it is never the same in any period of time. Okay? So Sat refers to that reality that exists in all periods of time. So this is one of the significance of the word Sat. The second meaning of Sat is Sadhu Bhave, with regard to the state of goodness or virtuous character, as we say of the saints, Sat Purusha. By associating with pure souls, we also become pure. Thus, the meaning is in the performance of noble actions like Yakya Dana Tapa. By uttering the mantra Sat, we'll remove all impurities from such actions that we do. So Sat is used to denote people who perform virtuous actions. Tatha, similarly, Shabda, the word Sad, Yujyate is used Prashaste with regards to the undertaking of auspicious or noble karmani, actions. So whenever we perform any noble actions, then that is associated, it comes immediately with association with the word Sat. So if we eat sattvic food, we give charity to help others. So these actions itself are known as Sat actions. They are pure actions. So these are the three meanings of Sat. One is existence, one is virtuous character, number 3 is noble actions. Now, in this verse 27, the Lord tells us the fourth meaning of Sat. And what is the fourth meaning of Sat? He says, Stitihi, steadfastness, commitment to the spiritual path, never giving up on the pursuit of moksha. So this commitment to keep on observing Yagni, what is that commitment? The Stiti, the steadfastness. Steadfastness to follow the path of Yagni means continuously a life of performing prayers, rituals, etc. Tapasi, keeping austerities, whatever austerities that we can keep. Cha dhani, and doing what we call various acts of charity. So these three actions, we must be very committed. In fact, in chapter 18, Lord will say, Yakya, Dana, Tapa, these three actions must never be given up. Every human being, it is compulsory to practice these three actions. So here again, anybody who is steadfast in practicing these three, that also is another meaning of Sat also. So in this aspect, the Lord says, Iti Uchate, this word Sat is said to describe all such commitment to righteous activities without wavering from the supreme goal. Finally, the Lord says, Karma, action that is tadarthiyam, meant for this. Meant for what? Meaning, tadarthiyam means any action that is dedicated to the Lord, apart from Yagya, Dana, Tapa, any other auspicious action which is performed and mentally dedicated to the Lord, Abhidhiyate, is also known as Sat. So Sat has so many beautiful meanings which the Lord has given. The Sat mantra itself is so special and capable of removing all defects in our actions also, and is most praiseworthy. So Sat now has been explained with 5 what we call aspects: existence, virtuous character, noble action, firm commitment, any action dedicated to the Lord. So even if one single part of the name of Ishvara is used by itself, is powerful enough to destroy all the defects in our actions, imagine the greatness of all the 3 names of God, Om Tat Sat, when uttered with humility and honesty, when doing any noble action, will destroy any defects in our action. So now in the what we call in the concluding verse here, that is verse number 28, the Lord speaks about one group of people who have no knowledge of the scriptures. And why is that? Out of their laziness, or they just follow. They do all the religious functions. They follow Yagya, Dana, Tapa, but they have no knowledge about what is the significance of performing these actions. But they just follow according to what they see their elders doing. So children see their elders doing Yagya, Dana, Tapa, performing rituals, giving charity, maintaining austerities, and they just follow without realizing. Mechanically they follow without realizing what is the purpose of this. Okay, and so they also can utter Om Tat Sat to eradicate any defects in their action. Now, what about another group of people? They are demoniacal people. They are materialistic people who do not have any knowledge of the scriptures or not interested in the scriptures, but they also follow Yajna Dana Tapa. So there are examples given in the Puranas. For example, what we call Ravan, he also performed certain austerities, but his intentions were different. So they follow, but they don't follow with idea to do something good. Okay, so can their defects also be eradicated by uttering Om Tat Sat? So in conclusion, Krishna wants to emphasize the importance of performing all our actions with faith, dedicate them to the Lord, to convert all our actions to Sattvika, and then only utter Om Tat Sat, and then only it will eradicate all the defects. So if you just perform without any faith, it will, by just uttering Om Tat Sat, will not help you to eradicate any defects. So faith is very important, whether we understand the scriptures or not, but as long as we perform with faith, then the Om Tat Sat mantra has a lot of significance. So the Lord says here, Yat, whatever Hutam. Hutam means that is offered as oblation into the fire. Datam, whatever is given as charity. Tapaha, whatever acts of austerity, taptam, are undergone. And whatever action is kritam, done or performed, ashraddhaya, without faith. So even if you perform prayers, even if you offer things into the holy fire, even if you give charity and you perform austerities and other types of actions, but they are performed without faith, F-A-I-T-H, faith. So all such karmas may benefit a person materially, but the Lord cautions here, all such actions performed without faith, uchyate, are said to be asat, impious. Impurities only increase in such a person. Therefore, even if you perform such karmas like Yajna Tapa without faith and you utter Om Tat Sat, it will never remove any defects in your action and will not give you any spiritual goal, but only spiritual stagnation or spiritual degradation. Then the Lord goes on to say, Tat, such actions done without faith, na pretya, will not bear any fruit, meaning it will not give you Swargaloka, nor will give you any punyam in the next birth. And not only that, na iha, in this life also, there will be no spiritual growth, there will be no purity of mind. You will get worldly things, but you will not get the spiritual growth. So whatever actions done without faith will not yield any results in this or next life. Therefore, one should undertake all actions with faith and then utter the mantra Om Tat Sat with a pure heart, and all the defects will be neutralized. So we may unknowingly violate some injunctions of the scriptures. While we are doing prayers, we might not be aware of all the right procedure to follow. We may not offer the right flower. We may mispronounce the mantra. Anything can happen. But if we do it with faith, with love for God, then we just chant Om Tat Sat and all these defects will be purified also. So that tells us the importance of the Om Tat Sat mantra, and to be uttered as long as our intentions are pure. Okay, so just chant that Om Tat Sat mantra. With this, the Lord ends chapter 17 of the Bhagavad Gita, and we will resume in the next video recording with the final chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is a very long chapter consisting of 78 verses, which is chapter 18. Hari Om Tat Sat.